And welcome, guys. Welcome to the Hair Wire, the place where you get hair smart. And today we have a full house. Today we have the Hair Wire panel, Carrie, Jared, Bisan, Dipsy, and also our special guest, the Biohacking Babes. How you guys doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for having us.
Yes, what she said. We always talk at the same time. We're basically twins.
Yeah, we are actually sisters. If people wonder, we actually are sisters. We're 2 years apart, though. We're not twins.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you guys look a lot alike.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, guys, today in this very special broadcast, we are bringing today biohacking into the hair loss industry. And so with that, we have Renee and Lauren, who's going to be speaking about, they have been in the biohacking industry for a while, and they're influencers in this world. And so people actually know, whenever Renee and Lauren are speaking, they're speaking the truth, and they're bringing it down, into the biohacking, how to understand our body, how to unlock the mysteries and make our body function the way it's supposed to. Now, it is a hard mission right now, in today's modern world, with the way we eat, the way we live, even the way we don't exercise. So tell us a little about yourselves, guys, and what brought you into the biohacking world.
I'll nudge in since I'm the big sister.
Go for it.
We grew up in a health-driven household. Our dad is a biological dentist and was always very health curious. And so we call him the OG biohacker. That term wasn't, the terminology came much later, but he was biohacking then because he was always trying new things, experimenting on his own physiology. We're keeping like a curiosity to see like how could he optimize his own health potential. So we had all kinds of gadgets and devices in our house when we were young. We didn't really understand what they were, like low-level laser, PEMF mats, all kinds of potions. And so I suppose by osmosis, I don't know if that's the right word in this context, but we were introduced to this perspective, or like really way of life, of being really curious, experimenting, and then listening to our body to see what is going to be best for our bodies, with the understanding that there is no one size fits all, but there could be another answer other than the conventional medicine route, which we know is valuable and amazing, but sometimes we need to pull other tools from our toolbox. And our dad really kind of showed us that the toolbox can be quite large, essentially. So I'll let Renee kick in.
Yeah.
All right, Renee.
Yeah. Well, I guess just on top of that, like Lauren said, we grew up with that mindset and education. And then for me personally, I actually went off to college, did the typical beer, pizza, college diet for a while, gained the freshman 18, fell off of everything my parents had taught me. Ended up graduating and actually getting really sick. I totally crashed and burned. I was just, burning the candle at both ends, the typical stereotype there. And I was just sleeping 13, 14 hours a night, just nothing could make me feel better. So of course I went to my doctor. They ran the lab test. They said, everything's normal, just keep sleeping more. And, I went to my mom and dad and I said, there's got to be an answer out there. And so with their help, I was able to look at, acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, naturopathic medicine, herbal medicine, homeopathic medicine, all these things. And it was my first eye-opening experience to say, hey, there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Yeah. So I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, which traditional medicine really doesn't have answers for. But for me, it was, I had Epstein-Barr virus reactivation, heavy metal toxicity, mercury toxicity, HPA axis dysfunction, hormonal imbalances, gut issues. It was all these things that I had to put the puzzle pieces together. And that's what made me become a biohacker. And so now our goal and mission is to help other people become their own biohackers so they don't have to struggle with some health concern, right? But it's always, I think the takeaway is your puzzle is going to look different than the next person's puzzle.
100%.
And that's key in everything, especially for us in the hair industry. In every case is different. Every world is different. Every hair loss condition is different, and we have to address it properly, uniquely to each case. And so seeing, how dieting, how lifestyle, has a direct effect on these areas is amazing. And this is why we brought you here, guys.
Yes.
to help us understand and unlock the mysteries of biohacking. Now, Carrie and Bisan, you know that hair loss and biohacking comes hand to hand. I mean, we have been talking about this for a while. So anything you guys want to add before we start interviewing here, Renee and Lauren, and ask them about how to get the hair back with biohacking?
Yeah, well, it's first thing I want to reiterate for the people watching is that there's more than one type of alopecia. A lot of times we'll go to a place to a professional and they'll say, "Oh, you have alopecia." Well, there's more than one type, and there's actually a root of the problem. There's many different roots of the problem. Like there's many different scenarios that may cause hair loss. And so it's essential to really understand just exactly what the girl said is it's not a one size fits all world. And you really need to understand your body and what is the trigger that's stimulating the hair loss. I always tell my clients this. The hair loss is the biomarker for what's going on in your body. And it's important to listen to that. And I love the topic of biohacking because once you really are more self-aware and understand your body, you're the expert in your body. Nobody else is the expert in your body. I have to say this. You are your own expert in your body because you know your body best. Listen to your body. And the Biohacker Babes, you guys listen to them because they are on the mark with the trajectory of the way things should be going to understand and better your health.
Yeah. And I want to add something here. Trichology, the science of hair, has been around since like the past century. But it ask anybody on the road, I am a trichologist, or what is trichology? Nobody knows, right? Because it didn't get elevated enough because they got trichology is studying the science of hair and the scalp disorders, which is great. We need this science. We need the base of it. But what is missing these days is in this era, the era of functional medicine, the era of biohacking. This is what is missing in the world of trichology. Cosmetologists should be informed about simple tricks that they can use for their clients, and depending on their case, of course. As you ladies said, it's a puzzle. And the more we can bring awareness and education to our trichologists and help them understand what tricks, small tricks can be involved in the hair loss industry, that will be amazing. It's just, you're gonna, ladies, add to this industry a huge, huge value. And we are trying here in the Hair Wire to bring the industry to the next level. So without further ado, I want you ladies to take us away with simple tricks or simple things that will make us align our bodies, heal from our traumas. And all this will automatically heal your, stop your hair loss or heal whatever thing happening in your hair, alopecia wise. So take us away, ladies.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to comment about what Carrie said about the root causes. And I think a lot of things in health, and maybe particularly in the beauty industry, we look at the downstream expression. So I love the tree analogy where often we're looking what's happening on the branches rather than looking at the roots. So the soil that it's grown in, how are we giving it nutrients? What is that environment? Is it getting the sunlight? It's the air around it. So with biohacking, there are a lot of really cool devices that could end up really just treating the extensions, the branches, but we need to add this deeper layer of curiosity to really understand what's happening all the way upstream, and also not look for one singular root cause, but many root causes, because it's multifactorial. And so in the roots, that's where we see the gut microbiome. This is where we see how the vagus nerve and the nervous system is responding to stress in our life, how it's traveling upstream to the brain, and really the mental emotional piece, which we know is so powerful because thoughts become proteins. So this is getting inside of the tree and into the roots to add this extra layer of curiosity and personalization. And then I think we can pull in kind of the cool biohacking stuff, which I'm not going to say it's all on the surface biohacking. Like red light, we know penetrates very deeply into our cells and our mitochondria. But I just want to get people out of that mindset that, and I think your people probably know this, or that we're not just treating the outside. We have to go as deep as possible. So just getting our mindset to go deeper, 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 and continue to ask the questions what could potentially be tying this all together. For example, could it be gut inflammation? Could it be a food sensitivity? Could it simply just be that I don't have a good relationship with stress? Like my perception of stress is quite high. These are the questions we need to start asking ourselves.
100%. I like what you talked about the stress. A lot of people don't realize stress is a huge factor for hair loss, and people don't address their stress. A lot of times when I talk to people with hair loss and they're like, well, I'm not stressed. Well, there's actually I do epigenetics, so I actually navigate 4 different areas of stress. So intake stress, physical stress, everyday environmental stress, and then stress trauma. And so when they're like, yeah, I'm not stressed. Well, your body's under stress right now, the way you're eating, like you're not aware that you have, your gut health issues. That's stress, and it has a ripple effect. It's all connected, mind, body, spirit. So I love that you talked about that. Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. I wanted to add, I love what you said about hair being a biomarker. I wanted to circle back to that. And I think sometimes when people have issues, they think like, I'm healthy other than my hair loss, or I'm healthy other than this skin rash I have. And I even had a client one time that said, I'm healthy other than my cancer. And so I think we kind of put like this one thing in a bucket, but that one thing, like you said, it's just the way the body is expressing that it needs help. Whether it's, it's lacking something, there's a deficiency, or it has too much of something like the toxicity, the stressors, your body is screaming out, we need something. So whether it's cancer, hair loss, all the different things, again, like Lauren said, going within is so important. And that's why biohacking is so great, because we're really approaching it from that root cause, bio-individual level. And then to go one step further with biohacking is, we like to say, you can't hack what you don't track. And so, so nutrition, exercise, even your stress, your sleep, like we know all the basic things, like eat a whole food diet, get 8 hours of sleep, right? Or the basic lifestyle things. But is that really enough? Do we need to go to the next level? And we don't really know that unless we're tracking it. So, if we break it down a little bit more like diet, we can look at something like a continuous glucose monitor. So metabolic health, right? How we're processing carbs, glucose, insulin, all of that can impact your hair health too. So using something like a CGM, sleep, we can use a tracker like an Oura Ring. Stress, I love that you said that there's all the different types of stress. So something like looking at heart rate variability. Mm-hmm. So HRV is really going to look at, is your body stressed? It's not just that mental, emotional stress. Is there that physiological stress? Are you eating too fast? Are you not recovering from your workout? All these things. So looking at heart rate variability testing, you can go as simple as, again, like an Oura Ring that's also going to measure your sleep, or you can go further. There's different apps that are going to look at like real-time data. But anyways, I could go down that rabbit hole, but my point is, if you are trying to hack something or optimize something in your body, pick one way to track it, because the subjective data is great too. Oh, my hair does look a little bit better today. I don't know, maybe we should take a photo, or maybe we should use a tracker, right? So we can really see the difference. So subjective data and objective data. And I talk about that a little bit in the presentation I sent over for you guys too. But
we can't wait until we see your presentation, ladies.
Oh.
And I just one quick thing I want to add, Sergio, is I feel that I love trichology because I feel that it's a sign that something is going wrong. And sometimes, with this fast-paced we live in, we sometimes ignore ourselves. And most of the time we ignore ourselves, we ignore our health. But then when we start seeing hair shedding, and then it's like, oh, what's going on? And it's a sign that you need to look deeper. It's not your shampoo. It's not your, it could be your shampoo, but it's not only your shampoo. And like a lot of ladies comes to me and it's like, I need something to put on my head so my hair comes back. It's not as simple. It is not as simple. And if you don't mind, me ladies asking, if you want to give us, aside of looking at nutrition and tracking our sleep and stress levels and everything, what is one thing that you feel it's very important to keep us healthy? Like if you want to just say one thing that to keep us healthy, what it will be, as it could be a device or it could be something else.
I would say create a positive relationship with sunlight, not necessarily sun exposure, but light, which affects our circadian rhythm. And our circadian rhythm, if it's aligned, really sends down top-down communication to our entire body, all of our cells, our organs. And I think, especially in the beauty industry, there's this
Right.
concept where like sun is good, sun is bad. Well,
Yeah.
we just need to be in the right relationship for us, and light in our eyeballs, not necessarily on our skin. There are receptors there as well, but like, can we get a little bit more outdoor light exposure versus indoor light exposure, which is really, again, top down, either pushing us towards a bad circadian rhythm, which then affects our sleep, our mood, our energy, our motivation, cascades into the next day, or are we getting that motivation, that energy, that mood, like that flow by starting top of the day? And really, I mean, there's opportunities and different benefits from different times of the day with light exposure that can be really helpful. But I just feel like that's like an easy,
actually it is
thing
you hit it home, because one of the most contributor to hair loss is vitamin D deficiency. You just hit it home. So yes, if there's one thing that a hair loss patient wants to do is go outside in the sun, and like the normal sun, the not the artificial ones, right? Yeah. You have anything to add to that, Renee?
I mean, just one thing for people to start doing. I would say maybe to tie in, this would kind of tie in stress and metabolic health. I would say every time you sit down to eat, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Think about how grateful you are for your food, right? Lauren and I love to do this. And then when you are eating, just be super mindful. Chew your food.
Yes,
Something so simple and totally free, but
correct.
it's so many of us are eating in that sympathetic state, rushing, driving the car. And it's like, I don't care if you're eating the most healthy organic meal or McDonald's at that point, because your body is in such a stress state. It's not going to digest and break down whatever you're eating. So that's a totally free thing. Slow down, be mindful how you eat.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit it again back home, because also like this is one of my problems. I don't chew my food. I don't sit down and chew my food. And I realized, going back to your HRV thing, I realized that my HRV is so low. I was like, I am doing everything right. What is going on? But I am stressing my body by not chewing my food. One simple thing, it's one simple hack. And that's why biohacking is so understanding the simple things, the simple facts. Of course, there is a lot of levels into it, but at least we start from the base and we go up, right?
Right. Like we call them like the ancestral hacks.
Exactly.
So like how did our ancestors biohack, 1,000 years ago, right? What were they doing? And then what can we do today, right? We have peptides, we have red light therapy, we have all these fancy things that they didn't have, but they really knew how to tap into the nature and ancestral wisdom. And we should be doing both.
I love that you just confirmed ancestry. I share that all the time. Look at your ancestors. We're an evolution of our ancestors. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay. I want to put in there too. A lot of times when with people, we don't know what we don't know. And you don't know unless you step back and observe. And sometimes, things will happen to our body, which will be like the biomarker, like your hair falling out or skin problems, rashes, which is your body saying, hey, listen to me. You're so busy and stressed. You're not listening to my body. There's something wrong here. And that's why hair happens to fall out and rashes happen because of that. And a lot of times people, you don't know what you don't know until you sit and observe what is going on. So it's so important to observe. And yes, that whole ignorance is bliss. But the thing is right now, everybody is in that's just our culture right now. That's our society right now, is hustle, go. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. But when do you have time to be sick?
Yes.
And so this is why
Ever.
this topic with biohacking and self-awareness and mindful awareness is so important for your long-term health, because we do not have time to get sick. So, and in some of the countries, some states, you can't afford to get sick. I am fortunately in Canada where I have free healthcare, but I know places where healthcare is not readily available. So how can you afford to not take time to better yourself and biohack your body so you have a healthier lifestyle? So you guys want to listen to this conversation, listen to the Biohacker Babes, join their podcast. You guys, they have some great information. I've been listening to it lately, and they are on the mark right there with bettering your health. And, you know, I can't stress this enough, how important it is to have mindful awareness. And you know what, the whole eating thing, you're going to laugh. As a cosmetologist, I'm guilty of this. I will get busy, and this is for professionals too, cosmetologists, trichologists. We're always work, hustle. I know I back to back my clients on the days I'm working, and I shove food down my throat and just eat what I can. And then I wonder why I'm bloated and gassy at the end of the day, holding in farts and to cash people out. That's not right. That's not comfortable. It's not healthy. Take that time, block 15 minutes if you have to have a healthy meal. Or, you know, yes, you're nibbling on food in between clients. Make sure it's healthy and you're chewing it. Yeah.
And
I just want to add to that. I think that is so common, especially for people that create their own schedules. And I know that like the human drive is to be productive. And I think productive can be good and positive, but we're often sacrificing these little tiny habits that really help us to be more productive. So it's difficult, but can we reverse engineer it and say, like, if I actually just pause and give my body that time to absorb nutrients, to digest, to be in a parasympathetic state, are you going to feel so much better and then be able to be more productive rather than just pushing through? And I get it. I've been there, and this is a constant challenge for myself as well. But like, we have to hit the pause button. There's just so much more benefit by hitting a little bit of a pause.
You know, I have to, you guys are going to appreciate this. My Guido, which is grandpa, he used to always say, Carrie, sometimes you have to stop, slow down, and pause to speed up. Right?
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
And with this little time we have left with you ladies, but when the biohacking conference, when I met you, you just told me that, yes, gray hair, no more. And I used this and this and this. Can you ladies tell me about it, please? tell our audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had many gray hairs earlier this year, and I'm actually looking in the camera myself right now. We have one there, maybe a little bit. I'm getting married in less than 2 weeks. There's been like a little more stress recently, but I started taking spermidine, which is, there's all this research coming out on anti-aging longevity with spermidine. And it's going to the root cause. It's really supporting our bodies on a cellular level. And I noticed within 2 months of starting it really consistently, like the gray hairs just kind of vanished. Nice. And I want to say it's like, oh, what a magic pill solution. But the research is pretty clear. Like, if we can really be in better relationship with inflammation and oxidative stress, then these branches, the expressions, improve. So, you know, there's maybe a few there, but it's a lot less than it was before.
Wow. So it's an anti-inflammatory drug. This is how it is.
Say again.
It's an anti-inflammatory drug, or can you explain it a little bit for us?
It's a supplement that it actually comes from wheat germ. You can get a gluten-free version of it though, if you're concerned about gluten. But it probably does help with inflammation somewhat, but actually the big thing that you'll see in the research is it actually targets 9 of the 12 hallmarks of aging.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't know of any other nutrient that targets that many of the 12. So it definitely has a lot going on in, the longevity anti-aging space, but the gray hair is definitely a big thing that people are going after.
Yeah. The reason I brought it up, because gray hair in the hair loss industry is a huge topic. And mostly people will say, well, nobody can reverse gray hair. Like, mostly if you go to all these forums, that is the answer. Or maybe use this copper peptide. You know, that is the latest thing I ever heard. And then when I met you ladies and you just said that to me, I was like, oh, okay, let's see how that works. So can you a little bit elaborate about this 12 aspects of health you said, Renee?
Yeah, the 12 hallmarks of aging. Yes. So for a long time, I want to say it was at 9. Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong. 9 hallmarks of aging. It's actually pretty recent. They bumped it up to 12.
Okay.
And you're putting me on the spot to try and name all of them, but I can name a couple.
Some of them.
But they're just, they're saying that what are the 12 reasons why we age? And they're looking at aging as almost like a disease. Like, we don't need to be aging. So things like senescent cells, so zombie cells in the body, if we can control senescent cells, optimizing mitochondrial function, Lauren, you can jump in if you remember any. I'm totally blanking now.
Of what you guys
telomeres, like fraying of telomeres.
Telomeres.
Some of these I could not explain to you if you asked, but genomic instability, I think, is one.
Oh, that is.
Did you say cellular senescence, Renee?
I did senescence. I know that's always the first one that comes to mind. But you can just, if anyone's interested, you can literally just Google 12 hallmarks of aging, and you'll find lots of really interesting literature about it.
That is deep science, you ladies.
It is, which is why we're not the
that's why.
But the research and like the supplements that are coming out really kind of making this connection, bridging the gap is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, like biohacking itself alone, like I have been listening to you ladies, and I'm trying to understand what biohacking is, but it's like really deep level in research, and it is like the how do you say that? It's like a lot of technology involved in it, with a lot of latest research is just the top notch. And how much I can read or listen to you, I still like ignorant. And it's
about putting everything together, Biz. It's about putting everything together and trying to make the best for our patients, for our customers, and bringing that information together is what we are doing here at the Hair Wire, guys. We're bringing information so you can keep hair smart here at the Hair Wire. Now, I wanted to ask you, ladies, when you have customers and they come to you and they want to be biohacked, is hair loss one of the main concerns that, or one of the concerns that you treat?
That's interesting, because I get a lot of clients that say like, oh, I'm looking for someone that does this, X, Y, or Z. And I always say like, well, I'm not an expert in X, Y, or Z. I'm an expert at looking at the root causes and collecting subjective and objective data. So we get like, your physiology gets to tell us what's happening. So we're not an expert in the downstream expression. We're experts in like collecting all of the information that we need to put the puzzle pieces together. So yes, I've had plenty of clients come to me and want to fix their hair, but we don't just look at their hair.
Exactly.
We always have the same kind of perspective and order, like a hierarchy of how we approach things. So always within.
Perfect. No, I like that, because usually whenever people they come to us for hair loss issues, usually among the biggest things that we commonly see are either issues with their nervous systems, with hormonal imbalances, and of course with their diet. So whether they're not absorbing or they're not intaking the right nutrients. So whenever we look at those three areas, would you say that it is very common among the things that you're trying to manage for your clients and trying to rebalance as they go along?
Yeah, I will say also to your other question about the hair loss is I haven't had anyone come to me and say, help me with my hair loss, but it's help me with my hormones, help me with whatever. And quite often I'll run a Dutch panel, which is my favorite hormone test. And on there, one of the things is hair loss. And so people will select that. And I'm like, oh, they never even mentioned that, but that makes sense now with what's coming up with their hormones. So that's all.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yes. And the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know. So don't feel like you're going to know everything. I know you said there's so much to know, but we're never going to know it all. And if someone says they know it all, you know what to do. You run.
Run for the hills, run.
There's so much information and opinions out there. So we hear a lot of times our clients and our audience, they're like, oh my God, there's so many things I have to do. Like the checklist is so long. It's like, no, it's not really. Like we're trying to give you more tools to put in your toolbox, but really our number one priority is to empower you to start listening to your body and then running these experiments for yourself. Because I don't know what's best for you. Renee doesn't know what's best for you. And yes, there's a million things you could do and try, but you have to digest the information and then let your intuition and your gut decide like what feels best, what resonates the most. And then you can make the empowered decision to carry that out.
Yeah, I love that you talked about intuition. We don't tap into that enough.
Not in today's world, right? Yeah.
Nada.
And I know we're running out of time, ladies, but tell us all where people can find you, like your website. We can write it down. Of course, the links, we will write it down, but tell us more of your activities on social media or the podcast. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I have something. Our website is thebiohackerbabes.com. And we're pretty active on Instagram. I know we were talking about before we hit record, Facebook versus Instagram. We're more on Instagram.
Okay.
A little bit on Facebook too, just biohacker_babes.
Okay.
And I think on Facebook, just the Biohacker Babes.
Okay.
So we release a new podcast every Monday. We are at about 212, I think, 212 episodes.
Nice.
So every Monday that goes live. And for in person, we're actually going to be at the Dragonfly Conference in Denver in November. We're going to be emceeing that event. So if anyone is in that area, would love to see you all in person, and definitely, connect with us online. Instagram messaging, we're always on there. That's how we connected, right?
Yes, exactly. And I'm looking forward to see you again at the Biohacking Conference next year. It is where we met, and I think I was very grateful that I just ran up to you and talked to you, and you were very nice and receptive, and you just gave me, I was like, do you want to come and talk about trichology? And both of you was like, yes.
You're so sweet. It was so great meeting you in person. So great.
Yes, of course. And I want to tell our audience, please, the Biohacker Babes are going to have a presentation in our summit. So do not miss that. That's going to be your first lecture of biohacking in the whole hair loss industry. So how cool is that? I don't know.
Finally, some biohacking. My God.
Well, thanks for having us and including us. We're honored to be a part of this.
We are very grateful, ladies.
Thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you.
What you're doing, and the message that you're bringing to people, getting people healthier. That's a huge issue nowadays, and we're glad that you're on the front. Taking the battle, taking the battle. In the front line. Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. God bless you all. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.